Well, howdy everybody, and welcome to another video brought to you by me, Jack, VintageElectronicsGeek.com. Today we're just going to do a first introductory video on this radio. There's going to be no repair at this point in time. It'll be later on in the future when that'll happen. But I thought, hey, it'd be cool to just take a peek at one of my recent purchases. Doug, this is one of the radios that I mentioned to you that I bought. I bought 4 radios here recently, and this being one of them. This is the only tube/valve radio in the package. The other 3 were transistorized radios, and they will be in a future video as well. One's already in the can. I just got to edit it and push it. I liberated this radio from a gentleman who was going to gut it and convert it into something modern. And that wasn't a good thing, I thought. So I picked it up and brought it home. Figured the radio is going to need to be, completely resurfaced, and that is very true. Wasn't sure of the state of it. The guy couldn't get it to work, and that's why he was going to get it. He spliced the cable, put 2 wing nuts on. I lost one. I ended up taping this up so we could do this video. This cord is just temporary, so it's going to survive. I've already tested this radio, and I've had it powered on for roughly 8 hours, just sitting as you see it, plugged into the isolation/variac transformer, and just let it do its thing. I've cleaned up the cabinet. From afar, as you see, it looks nice. It does have some issues. It's not pristine in any way, shape, or form. I don't think it had a proper life taken care of well. The finish on it, the lacquer is cracked. I cleaned it up. I put about 10 coats of furniture polish on it just to get it how it is now. I'd have done more, but I ran out. So I need to go get some Howards to finish it up and see what it looks like after that. I'm not sure how far I'm going to go with the radio, honestly. I don't know if I'm going to do a complete restore or just put Howards on it and call it a done deal. The radio, mechanically, is sound. It all worked. Dial, string is still there. Knobs turn. Everything functions fully. Mechanically, not an issue. This knob is dry. It's squeaky. So I need to put some lube on that. Well, it's all going to need to be serviced. That's a give me. Speaker cloth, from what I could tell, is original. I've looked at other samples online, and it appears to be a match. We do have some slight discoloration. Again, I'm not sure how I'm going to address that. The display is all present. I see absolutely no chips or flaking in the paint. The badge is current. No issues there. The knobs, no dings or scratches outside of, average use scratch and bump and stuff like that. The copper trim going around is intact. Got one little ding right here in it. But otherwise, I don't recall seeing any other issues. We have gold trim in the paint. It's all intact. It does start to break down in some areas where the paint is bad. Otherwise, it's all there. We have a black detail stripe going around as well. Same thing where the paint is, or where the stain, I don't know why I keep saying paint, where the stain is all scratched, that's where it loses it. It really sucks. I wished it would have been taken well care of. We have 2 little copper markers in the radio there, and the reason they're there is because this has separate bass and treble, and so that marks, I know you probably can't see it in here, but there is little markings in the knob that will point to there as well. This is your volume control, and this outer knob here is your tuning control. These piano style keys will navigate through your bands. This is, I do believe, a German import. All the text is in German, and however, it has FM radio on it. FM radio covers the full U.S. spectrum, so I'm really not sure. I'm not a vintage radio connoisseur, so I could be totally missing the mark on this. This button here is off. It's marked AUS. We have phono. By the way, AUS is German for off. Phono. Mittel, which is medium. Kurz is for shortwave. And then we have UKW for FM. We have little markers right here which are just paint detail, and that just signifies your bass and treble, and it's marked in the German language along with the rest of this is marked in the German language. Tuner eye does not work. Speaker works. We have a voice or mid-range speaker here. I'm really not sure what it is. It has a hard paper backing on it, unlike this where it's metal, has hard paper. Looking at the back, it appears to be all original. I've only removed one tube, and it was also marked Siemens. There's a capacitor here on the side. It's marked Siemens, so I would imagine it's all original. What's rather interesting about that, it has no hum. No power supply hum, no radio hum. Maybe the radio hasn't seen very much use, and because of such, it's in a semi-quasi usable status of usage. I can tell you that the IF is off, front end is off. With this radio on the inside, I found a paper wax envelope that had some goodies in it. Before I get into this, which I'm sure we all know what that is because you could see that, I did find what I believe to be the original fuse that it had in it. Now, something else inside this envelope I found were these. Now, you probably can't see that very well, but what I believe these to be are spare RF slugs. I haven't looked at it with a magnifying glass, but with an eyeball looking inside the tube, it does appear that the heads do have a slot in them. So that is very cool. Getting back to the manual, it's in German, but it's the service manual. Now, you can find this online, so if you do have one, search and you'll find it. This is the alignment procedure. There was also another piece to the literature which I believe was just a owner's manual on how to work the radio. That did not come in my packet. Forgot to mention the date on the radio. The radio was brand new for 1954. Let me throw some graphics up right here, right now. Radio Museum does have this radio in their database. There is some data that's missing in their catalog, but looking here at one of the advertisements that I find, you'll be able to find the missing data. And what that was, I can't remember. I think it was the speaker output, how many watts that was. I forget off the top of my head, but you could see here in the literature, in the advertisement, what that was. And as you can see, the radio sold for $130 in 1954. These are the only two advertisements that I've been able to locate for this radio. Paperwork. We have the schematic with voltage values. We have our tubes, what's supposed to be in there. Alignment sheet tells you how to align the radio for your AM and your IF. And on this side, it tells you how to align it for FM and what your IF is and your oscillator is. This is for the AM antenna. And one of the leads is broken off. This is it. The AM antenna just wraps around there. I do believe this is for the FM antenna. That could be a reason why I'm not getting too much a signal. When I run my lead for my signal generator, I come up here to the tuning cap, and the closer I get to this cap, the stronger of a signal I get. We do have provisions to go from 110 volts to 250 volts. This is one reason why the guy couldn't get it to work, because he did not know that other countries used different mains voltage. Of course, I told him that after I purchased the radio, and he's like, oh. So it's a good thing. This side of the radio cabinet is where I found the paperwork tacked inside. I'm not going to be able to show you because of angles and all that good stuff, but inside here there is a lot of fainted writing and ink. I'm not sure if it was quality control signing off on aspects of the radio. I really don't know. One of these is going to be phono input. I'm not sure what the other one is. Maybe it's phono auxiliary. I really don't know. Radio looks really good on the inside. There was no nests, no bugs, no junk, just a lot of dust. From what I could see here at the bottom, the two bushings that are holding the case on is in good condition. And kind of hard. So when I tear this out, I will be careful. Due to the length of this video, I'm not going to tear it out. We're not going to look at it. We're not going to go that far. This video has gone on a lot longer than I anticipated. This IF can actually still has tape covering those coils. This tape is missing. I pulled the tubes out of the radio and I went to go clean them up, wiped them down with just simply water and a damp paper towel. And when I did that, not sure if you could see it, reflection, the silk screening on this tube started to come off. The neat thing is, all these tubes all read Siemens, so it'll all be the original tubes more than likely. I currently have in the tube tester, and for those that are interested, I'm using a vintage Micronta solid state tube tester, model number 22-012. I have not done a video on this tube tester yet. I currently have the tube marked EC92 in here, and I took the time to look these up on the internet in between takes, or scenes, or whatever you want to call them. And this tube is a triode mixer oscillator for the FM. This tube equates to a 6AB4. Right now I'm checking it for filament voltage, and I have. And I'm not showing any shorts, any leakage. Next thing we're going to do is we're just going to simply flick that switch over there, check for emissions. Got to be careful of that little guy right there. That could bite you. Hopefully the meter is set up where it's good enough to view. So let's see how good this is. Well, that's kind of cool. Did it in steps. So that looks pretty good. The FM stage should work just fine with that. I have tube number 2, EC92. Turn the switch on, and we're going to check for shorts. Wow, that thing just illuminated at the bottom. Hopefully you saw that on camera. And now let's go ahead and check for emissions. Wow. That looks to be about 92%. I know you can't see it because of this wire right here. Okay, so the next tube I have plugged in here is, for this radio, is a EF89. It is a pentode RF-IF stage, and its equivalent is a 6 delta alpha 6, 6DA6. Swing that over to leakage. Turn this on to high, throw in the big red switch. Actually, it's a little red switch. Alright, no explosion, no sham wow, and you can see that is showing leakage. Let's go ahead and swing this over to emissions. And nothing. Have it spun around, as you can see. That's obvious. Call me Captain Obvious. You can see the light here illuminated.
Comienzo del juego 6:07, temperatura.
Fueron tantos años juntos que no es tan fácil olvidar. Tú vivirás pensando solo en los recuerdos. Yo viviré pensando cuánto te quise. Todas mis ilusiones fueron contigo, pero ya no me importa.
Está usted escuchando La Ranchera. Pues, ¿cuál otra?
Open suppurating shakers on your body. So he says, following the logic, scientifically speaking, since the river is ecologically dead, I can sue. And I want to sue a series of government officials with attempted poisoning. Because it's a living thing. All right, outside of course, a couple of legal issues which are just ludicrous, and I'm just going to go through them for a second, just for fun. There has to be a person for murder, not just a living organism. Cockroaches are living organisms. Go ahead and kill a cockroach in India, you're going to be charged with murder, right? Also, someone has to do it. Someone has to do it. Not some laws that stopping pollution somehow is murder. But I love the points. All that, of course, we talk about it.
That's full blast.
The point
Too bad I couldn't get FM.
High Court has the
Okay, well that'll do it for me. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this first part or introduction into this radio. I want to thank you for sticking around in this lengthy video. I do apologize for the length. Catch you in the next one.